One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. Then let me be free.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges. A host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart steel and a spirit unbroken. He rides on two wheels ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow. He takes his stand, refusing to submit. Insane wheels hear his battle cry. Metal and mayhem will never die. Wishful reports he pays his way. Oh, legend in the making, day by day.
Shit, well, happy Topless Taco Tuesday. Hopefully everyone's enjoying their morning so far. Absolutely. I know that we are over here. So listen, we got a lot to go through, and I'm actually kind of pressed for a little bit of time because today is the last day that Naomi's here, so she's going to be actually catching a flight after the show back to her house, man. So today is a sad day in that aspect, absolutely. But we have to get through today. We have some interesting things that have happened in the media. Obviously, there was some stuff that happened yesterday as well that we weren't able to discuss and present onto the show, but I still said it happened, obviously. But today we're going to be covering more of the updates of what's happening with the Grand Canyon on fire. We have a whole story on that, as well as Trump continues to threaten Russia, as to be expected at this point. I think we see the line in the sand kind of thing. And then as well as an update with the Texas recovery. That's what we're going to be starting with in chronological order is we're going to be talking about the Texas flood first. And then we have an update, new details coming out regarding the Kentucky shooter that left 2 dead and as well as their state troopers were hospitalized as well. And then, of course, the Grand Canyon, and then Trump backing Ukraine with weapons, and then threatens Russia with tariffs, which we already know about. We talked about that yesterday as well. And then former President Joe Biden defends his use of an auto pen at the end of his term, according to NYT reports. So we've got a collage of just stuff that we're going to be covering today. Before we get into it, man, make sure you guys hit that like button. It helps out the show immensely, and it's free to do so. As you guys can see, we've got Lucy dancing over there. It feels ultra good. Make sure you guys hit that like button. It's free. If you guys are new to the show, hit that subscribe button because it's also free. Please consider becoming a member, though, starting at $2.99 a month, making sure we're not breaking the bank out there with anybody. But check it out. This is how we get to speak the way that we do, is because we don't cater to views and radical views to get views, right? Because we don't do that shit. We 100% cater to you guys in the Breakfast Club. So thank you guys for your contributions. And of course, my Instagram right here at BallValveTV. Go ahead and follow that right there. I have breaking news, not only all that, but updates and behind the scenes of not only my life as well as the show. Millennial Food Time feels ultra good. And last but not least, make sure you guys, listen. If you guys are going to donate. Of course, I'm going to shout out your donations, your super stickers, super chats, gift and membership signups. All of these things, of course, are going to be read and shouted out. But if you guys would like to skip that YouTube 30% brutal cut that they take from your hard-earned money, we have these platforms right here scrolling for the remainder of the show. And of course, I have my phone that's up, ready to go. So if anything comes through, I'll see it right away. I'm trying to be really good about that. I've gotten better about that. And last but not least, I guess I lied there. Make sure you guys hit that Discord that Naomi just put the link in. I didn't say that, so make sure you guys do that. That's where all of us hang out behind the scenes as well. And it's a great place to continue the conversation. You know what I mean? It's awesome. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we've got King Blackout over there on the Twitch side of things. Good to see you, my man. Appreciate you over there hanging out with us. And yes, we got Brother Frank as well. And yes, YouTube does do that sometimes, bro. It does happen. We got Brother Steve Easy as well, chilling with us. We got Naomi in the building as well, obviously. We got SNS as well. We got Rabbit of Chaos. Charles Darwin, yes, you better hit that like button for Lucy, dude. You saw her dancing for you, right? We got 13 as well. Good morning to you, kind sir. Good to see you. We got Lappy as well. And she. All right, let me go ahead and scroll. Oh, wait. There, we got Dark Horse, my man. Where is he? I lost it again, damn it. There he is. All right, roll tide, brother. Good to see you, my man. Let's go ahead and get down with the business for the pocket watchers out there. You know what I mean? Just
maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Donate. Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Donate. Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Donate some freaking.
Yo, real quick, we got Sean coming in hot on the Cash App. My man sending in $10 and just has the respect emoji and the king emoji with the fist. Man, I very much appreciate your contribution right there. Hopefully you enjoy the content that we do out here, man, and it helps out the show when you guys do that kind of thing right there. We got Brother Carney as well. Good to see you, my good sir. Hopefully you're enjoying the morning as well as Trouble. Man, Left Lane Bully, my man, good to see you. Hopefully you're enjoying the morning as well. And yes, we're calling out the pocket watchers. We got Al Robles, good to see you as well. Good morning. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the madness. We're going to start off with the Texas floods, as you guys know, and then we're going to be getting into the new details regarding the Kentucky shooter, or the shooting that left 2 dead and state troopers hospitalized. So anyways, here we go. Let's get into it.
All right, welcome back in here to Live Now from Fox. I am Andy Mack. As the death toll continues to rise after the flash flooding in central Texas, we're learning more about reported chaotic and a delayed response at Camp Mystic. Of course, 27 campers and counselors lost their lives there over the 4th of July.
What's up, brother GEG? How many did they
Of course,
say that
27 campers and
27
counselors lost their lives there over the 4th of
just right there at Camp Mystic. So 27 campers and counselors there.
July holiday weekend with this major flooding in this region. And these are some of the before and after images of this Camp Mystic right there along the Guadalupe River.
Gunpowder Nitro, good morning.
Directly in a flood zone. And when the National Weather Service
Mount High as well, good morning, kind sir.
Issued a flash flood warning at 1:14 in the morning. Warning of life-threatening floods near that river. Little direction potentially given by camp leadership. Let's be joined right now by national correspondent for the Washington Post, Annie Gowan. Thank you so much for joining us here on Live Now from Fox.
Who's this
is a
woman?
Tragic event.
Oh my goodness. This is a Washington Post woman? Oh my God.
Emotional damage.
Wow. Did you see how her face was like super, like she was just like waiting for the dude to finish, but she's like all leaned up into the camera like, oh man. Check that out again.
The Washington Post, Annie Gowan. Thank you so much for joining us here on Live Now from Fox. And this was a tragic event, and potentially those warnings going out to alert.
It almost looks like she got like a washing machine in the background, even though it's a copy and whatever. But at first I'm like, where's she at the laundry room?
Lily, thank you for having me. So we have some exclusive reporting from the family. This sort of a little bit of a narrative of how they handled things that night. We know from the reporting that the interviews that we had done with one of the sons of the owners of the camp, that they received their first alert, as you said, at 1:14 a.m. Then they began summoning other staff via walkie-talkie and then walking the property to assess the situation. They did not begin evacuating until around 2:30, according to this family member that we interviewed.
So they did this evacuation super late, we found out, because, well, there was a lack of communication in that aspect. There's 2 different services that emergencies use. One that goes to your phones, obviously, and onto any television or whatnot. And the original, I guess, issue happened at like 2:30 in the morning. you know, and by then, no one's watching their fucking television at that time, dude. You know, like, it would be a lot nicer if people had, like, not just those specific big alerts that go around, the federal alerts, whatever those, I forget what those specific alerts are, Amber alerts or whatever. It needs, if you live in an area that can have these kind of devastations, you definitely need to have a secondary backup system. Don't rely on the government to send you those notifications to get out. If you don't have like sirens or whatever the case is, make sure that you guys have like your local weather and notifications on and stuff like that on a different app. You know what I mean? It's the best thing you can do for yourself, weather-wise.
Then at that point, you know, they felt that they needed to start with the furthest away cabins. But then it turned out that there were other cabins that were more closer in that had some of the smaller girls, the littlest girls, that were actually becoming inundated with water as well.
Yeah, and this is just some of the timeline.
Yeah, Blair 1%er out there in Texas, by the way, he says, I live in hell country and the alerts are fucking crazy with flash floods and we get almost no rain. Yeah, it's got to be super rough to deal with that. And another thing that Steve Easy says, he says, get a weather radio. I absolutely agree. And if you want to get that next step, you want to go even above and beyond that, get into ham radio. That is when shit goes down for real. That's what people are going to be communicating on is ham radio. Anyways, back to this.
You're reporting the 114 number when the warning went out and they didn't start really removing some of those girls from the cabins until 2:30. They were talking about the lines of communication because they do have
So there's like an hour delay there.
System that they can communicate, but that was likely washed out due to some of the water and the electricity, but they were using to communicate by walkie-talkie. Some of them didn't have cell phones. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, exactly. And that's part of the bummer that this camp, all these camps are very notorious for telling the campers to leave their phones at home. Yeah, you're not supposed to be on your phone out here camping and enjoying your time with your people. So unfortunately, the people that do have cell phones are the counselors or whatever they call them, the adults, the handful of adults, and maybe they have spotty internet, maybe they, whatever. So you're relying on just a couple people, and that's rough because usually even kids nowadays, whether 13, 14, whatever, even 10 years old, they're on to this shit. They're like, yeah, we got alerts going on here. And they're really good at being able to, with technology, they're good with shit like that.
Just how sparse.
But anyways, she's not really giving us anything that we haven't heard already. Let's see these images here. We're skipping ahead.
Questions left unanswered from this tragedy. What else do you want to know? What other questions are on the top of your mind, Annie?
Well, I'd like to know how they exactly were communicating or how they would have communicated in normal times with emergency officials. We don't know exactly, when they called 911, if they called 911, if those calls were received, if they were able to get through. We did speak to the fire chief nearby, and he said he hadn't heard from them. And then, of course, many parents.
That's very, very true. That's very true.
Were frantically calling the Kirk County Sheriff's Office asking for details. And, as late as that morning, the sheriff's deputies were saying, we don't know what's going on out there. And so, I do really want to know sort of like, did they have a system in place to speak to law enforcement? Just over.
What's up, Hardwire? Good to see you, my man, as well as Jason in the background. He's over there, working and lurking or something.
Or what broke down there?
Yeah, there's a very good point. We're talking about camp.
Look at the devastation, though. I mean, these floods were fucking so hardcore. Let's go ahead and see what this dude's saying.
That landowner was very kind to let the public use the public residents there.
So this is a county judge.
So during this whole time, I just want to emphasize that we have had fire trucks, paramedics, firefighters stationed on the residence side. And we, as far as I know, have fulfilled every request and then some of getting food and water to everybody in that region. But I recognize if I was trapped somewhere and I couldn't use my own car to get to work, that is a hardship. So we were working as quickly as possible to get that bridge built, which is now built. My understanding of what the engineers were considering was a few options of bridges. They wanted one that was going to be 2 lanes.
What's up, Are We Not Men? Hopefully you're enjoying the morning as well. Good to see you. All right, so there is a donation specifically that goes to the Texas flood relief. So if you guys want to make a donation, there is the QR code to help out the situation down there. So we're going to go ahead and move on, though. However, we're going to get into new details regarding the Kentucky shooting, leaving 2 dead, as well as state troopers are hospitalized. So let's go ahead and get into the details here.
Live now from Fox, I'm Andy Mack. I do want to bring you an update of a story we were following over the weekend. A tragic shooting in Lexington, Kentucky, as a gunman killed 2 people and injured 3, including a state trooper, after he went on a shooting spree in Kentucky in Lexington on Sunday. A live picture right there. It all started after a traffic stop near an airport. It ended with a police shooting and killing the suspect at a small church on the edge.
You know, I don't know the answer to that, Charles. I don't know.
Of town. We're going to be joined right now by Fox's Asher Red in Lexington with the latest. Asher, thank you so much.
What's up, Bill Castle over there in Washington?
For joining us. The gunman may have had a connection to the victims at the church. Explain this to me.
What's up, sick bastard? Good morning.
Well, good afternoon, Andy. Police say the shooter is 47-year-old Guy House. He's from Lexington, Kentucky, and the women he killed are related to the mother of his children. Now, Lexington police say this all began at around 11:30 yesterday morning when House shot a state trooper who pulled him over at the Bluegrass Airport. Then, according to police, House carjacked another vehicle and took off. He ended up at the Richmond Road Baptist Church, about 16 miles away, where he shot 4 more people. Witnesses say he was looking for the mother of his children there, but when he found out that she wasn't there, witnesses say he killed the pastor's wife, 72-year-old Beverly Gum. Gum was the grandmother of his children, and Gum's family says House shot her right in front.
Man, that's super sad. What the fuck?
Of a 2-month-old baby.
Damn, in front of a 2-month-old baby too? Come on.
We're like, she's not here, and my mom's like, she's not here, and he's like, well, I guess someone has to die then, and he shot my mom twice. She was like, God, please help me, and she told me she loved
Wow.
me, and that was it.
The fuck?
House also killed 34-year-old Christina Combs. Police officers
Look
shot
at that dude. Look at that dude.
Oh shit! Oh shit! Stupid.
and killed House behind the church. And Kentucky State Police say House had warrants out for his arrest when
He's got the face of,
Emotional damage.
they pulled him over. The mother of House's children says he should have never had a gun in the first place because of his criminal past and his history with drug abuse.
Shit. Of course. Motherfucker wasn't even supposed to have a gun.
I know how his wounds and how his mental health was, sort of, and it was kind of spiraling out of control.
And the 2 men that House shot inside the church, including the pastor, are in critical condition, and the state trooper that House shot at the airport is in stable condition. Andy?
All right, thank you so much. A tragic event.
Jeez, that is fucking tragic. And then they have a little update.
Kentucky.
I'm not going to listen to this whole thing, but we'll listen to a little bit here. Cameras are rolling, cuh.
Public Information Office. Thank you for coming today. We want to provide some limited updates on the events occurring at Terminal Drive and Old Richmond Road yesterday, Sunday, July 13th, 2025. Chief Lawrence Weathers will provide an update on the investigation. This information will be limited as the Kentucky State Police will be taking over.
Nope, don't do meth. Just left-handed tobacco. Shit. Had to.
As the lead investigating agency of the entire incident. The Lexington Police Department will not be able to answer any questions. And going forward, all updates will be provided by and all inquiries should be directed to the Kentucky State Police. Chief Weathers is joined today by Kenneth Payne with 1 Lexington and also with Sergeant Matt Suddeth with the Kentucky State Police. Chief Weathers.
Thanks,
Hey.
Sergeant Towery.
Here comes the chief.
Good afternoon, everybody. As Sergeant Towery said, we want to provide a limited update about the shootings that occurred yesterday
A
on
limited update.
Terminal Drive and Old Richmond Road. The suspect has been identified by the Fayette County Coroner's Office as Guy House, age 47. The 2 deceased female victims from Richmond Road Baptist Church have been identified as Beverly Gum, age 72, and Christina Combs, age 34.
34 and 72 were the age of the women that unfortunately passed from this.
On behalf of the Lexington Police Department, I would like to extend my condolences to the families of Ms. Gum and Ms. Combs.
Of course. What a fucking terrible ordeal.
As well as the other victims and their families. I would also like to provide you with an update on the 2 other injured victims from the Richmond Road Baptist Church. Both of the male victims are reported to be in critical condition. Out of respect for the victims and their families, we will not be releasing their identities. As Sergeant Towery mentioned, the Kentucky State Police will be taking over as the primary investigating agency, and any follow-up information will be released by Kentucky State Police.
So that's pretty much what he's going to update with. Let's see.
The officers who responded to the church encountered a very tragic scene. They began providing first aid and care to the individuals who had been shot until paramedics arrived. I'm proud of the responding officers.
Yeah, that's no kidding, by the way. Real quick, I got to point out what S&S said. Absolutely. Remember to give Naomi props for all the behind-the-scenes contributions. Absolutely. Big W to Naomi, for sure. She's awesome in so many ways, man.
I'm proud of them and their actions to care for the victims. The officers went from securing the scene to assisting the victims in an instant. Yesterday's violence was a tragedy, and it impacted many people in our community. From the loss of Ms. Gum and Ms. Combs, the other victims who sustained injuries, including a Kentucky State Trooper, their families, the Richmond Baptist Church family, and many others, we join them and the community to mourn this tragedy.
All right, well, it sounds like that will be the update regarding Kentucky for now. Now we're going to be moving into the Grand Canyon and the fires going on over there. I really don't know the specific ordeal on how this started or anything, but I'm sure that this will give us a specific update on what is happening here. So let's get it.
And welcome back here to Live Now from Fox. I'm Andrew Kraft and our continuing coverage of some of these devastating wildfires there in northern Arizona. We have a live picture there over the skies of Flagstaff, Arizona. Well, this is what we know. 2 wildfires there. The White Sage and the Dragon Bravo grew significantly.
What's up, AU? Good morning to you, kind sir. Good to see you.
Overnight, reaching nearly 50,000 and over 5,000 acres, respectively. The Dragon Bravo fire causing evacuations along the Grand Canyon's North Rim and destroying numerous buildings, including the historic North Rim Lodge. Well, our friend and colleague at Fox 10 Phoenix, reporter Lauren Clark, she was on the scene earlier. She filed this report. Let's listen.
Is standing on this side of the south rim of the Grand Canyon. This part of the canyon looks fine and clear, but move over just a little bit.
Man.
You can see a site that normally shows just how vast the Grand Canyon is, shows just
usually you can see all that shit all the way across.
How vast all of the smoke has become.
It's just sad to see that it's happening and to see all this smoke.
You know, the fire, seeing the smoke, seeing the pictures that we've seen from last night, it's terrible.
I've been here 6 years ago and I don't remember it being like this, so it's pretty sad to see it.
Tourists from around the world looking sadly on what is normally one of the grandest views on the entire.
Now, there's a lot of wildlife out there, meaning like there is, it's not just rock. There is trees, bushes, shrubs, all that shit.
We were going to stay actually the night that the fire started over there. And it's just heartbreaking. We've been there many times. And
buildings.
Just to see all the flames, it's really heartbreaking.
I can't believe that there's all the fires that are still going on. You know, we've heard that they're still being put out even to today.
Disappointing because the haziness, but also we have pictures of the sunset that you may never ever see again.
The south rim of the Grand Canyon engulfed with smoke. The sign of the...
Yep. A man has to do what a man has to do. You know, Steve, that is true. That is a sad reality. But hey.
Fast-moving Dragon Bravo fire.
Currently at 5,716 acres, 293 personnel on the fire, 0% containment.
Stefan the Sky with the Southwest Area Incident Command says fire crews are working around the clock to put the fire out.
Very clear. We're in an aggressive firefight.
We had booked 3 days at the North Rim of the Grand Canyon in the cabins right there.
Karen Carney from Georgia came up to the Grand Canyon to relive the same trip she took when she was 12 with her 12-year-old son. The highlight, the iconic North Rim Lodge.
It wasn't overcrowded with people. I could get seats on the back deck of the lodge and look out over the view. There were seats on the sofas inside. It was just magical.
But little did she know she would be some of the last people.
Damn, look at that shit. That wide angle from super far. Look at that shit. Damn, there's a lot that's burning there. There's a lot of ground there. That is, if it were just coming from a specific spot, you know, you can tell if it were thinner, but man, this is an ordeal here.
People to ever see it in its glory. Early Thursday night, she was evacuated. They could see the glow of the flames and smoke as they drove out. Now she's sad for the memories.
So how did it start? I want to hear that.
Forever lost.
It makes me very sad. I mean, like I said, it was a magical place for me. I'm glad we got to experience it. I'm sad we didn't get to finish our experience with it.
Unfortunately, officials say that the North Rim side of the Grand Canyon is closed for the remainder of the 2025 season. Reporting here on the South Rim of the Grand Canyon, Lauren Clark, Fox 10 News.
Lauren, thanks so much. Just really sad and really devastating, the loss of this historic lodge there in one of the nation's most beautiful.
So the lodge did go up in flames.
Locales. And many elected leaders here in Arizona, they're weighing in on this, including the Democratic Senator Mark Kelly. He says this is such a devastating loss for the park and community, our state and our country. He says, I just spoke to park officials to get an update and offer help. Thanks to everyone working so hard to contain this fire, he says. Well, in the meantime, another one of our friend and colleagues here at Fox 10 Phoenix, Lindsay Regis, she's following all of this reaction as well. She joins me in the Live Now newsroom. Lindsay, good to see you. This is a hard story to tell. What more do we know? Who have you heard from today?
Yeah, it's good to see you, Andrew. So we are hearing from Mark Kelly, Ruben Gallego. They're all getting involved now because they want answers. Same thing with Governor.
Well, yeah. I mean, that was the first thing I asked. Well, how did it start?
Katie Hobbs. She had a letter sent on the weekend, and now we have this letter from Mark Kelly and Ruben Gallego today. They want answers because there's been somewhat of a pattern here. We're going to tell you about it. A 2006 fire that burned very similarly.
I don't know why we can.
I think we have some of this video of the fire there as well.
Yeah, unfortunately, they have the volume all the way down on that motherfucker.
First time.
They're
referring to the Warm Fire in 2006, also on the North Rim. Fire managers decided to let the lightning-caused fire burn as a wildland use fire. 59,000.
So this one was the previous fire that was very similar to what is happening now, is what they're saying.
1,000 acres were destroyed in that fire. The two-page letter has a list of questions they'd like the U.S. Department of the Interior to answer, including what factors went into the decision to treat.
Okay, so this is now regarding this fire now. This part, when they're talking about this shit.
This fire as a controlled burn. Governor Katie Hobbs has previously requested an independent investigation into the management of the Dragon Bravo fire. That also includes a report detailing the decisions that led to this devastating outcome.
So we're waiting on a lot of answers here. We had Lauren Clark, who was up there in the Grand Canyon, waiting to get those answers. She was out there.
What's up, Rob's neighbor? Good morning.
For hours. She finally got few answers that you saw that just aired a few minutes before me. But we're gonna.
And what's up, Prez? Good to see you as well. Happy Topless Taco Tuesday to everyone.
We're gonna wait till we get more answers, and we'll make sure to update you here and also on our website. Andrew.
All right, Lindsay Regis there live for us in our newsroom here. It's a story we're going to stay on top of.
Well, that sucks. We're also going to be staying on top of the fire as well. As you guys know, that's what we do, is we continue to follow what is happening across the world, man. All right, so we're going to go ahead and move on into now President Trump backs Ukraine with weapons as well as threatens Russia with tariffs. So, of course, you guys know that we covered that yesterday in the aspect of actually hearing what was going on over there with NATO. But we're going to go ahead and get this report. We're not going to probably listen to every little bit of it. We don't necessarily need to hear this dude's analysis of shit, but because we already know. But
and let's bring into the conversation now national security analyst and expert and retired Marine intelligence officer Hal Kemper. Hal joins me. Hal, you have guided our viewers each and every day almost throughout this entire conflict. Yet another iteration here. What pieces of military equipment now are going to Ukraine? What's the U.S. sending here, Hal?
Well, Andrew, of course, the big one is the one they talk about. That's kind of the bumper sticker one, which is the Patriot missiles. Something desperately needed, as we've seen.
Desperately needed. Get out of here, dude.
Ukraine, particularly Kyiv, but other cities, Western Ukraine as well, have just been inundated with drones and these missiles, to include these hypersonic missiles Russia's firing. They have been firing missiles at a rate never seen before in the 3 years of the war. And it almost seems like Putin has been pursuing this mad moment, if you will, of sending as many of these things as possible. And they're not all aimed at military targets, primarily hitting civilian targets, things like that. Other things that are on the order going out are what they call defensive weapons. Now, there's a lot of interpretation.
Okay, defensive weapons. That's like calling my gun a defensive gun. Okay, yes, it can absolutely be used as a defensive mechanism. Absolutely, you can do that. It's in the way that you use it and the timing of it. You know, that it doesn't. Defensive weapons That doesn't mean anything. That's about the act of using it, right? So that's like the act of using a missile or act of using these weapons determines whether it's defensive or offensive. Bunch of retards.
On what that could mean. But artillery rounds certainly are well in there. And, I would mention we've sent about 3 million artillery rounds over to Ukraine during the course of war. So that's something they desperately need. Certain types of HIMARS may be on the list. I think they are. There are some, there's a version of a new missile that we have that can be fired through the HIMARS system. We haven't even sent that to our closest allies in NATO yet, but that's something Ukraine has asked for. Has about a 500-kilometer range. If that thing gets released, that's a significant.
Same, Steve. Everything I talk about with firearms is hypothetical.
Shift in U.S. policy. But basically all the things that you would expect, and mostly ammunition type stuff. I haven't heard of major end items, except for I did hear there might be a battery, which is a complete system for launching Patriot missiles that may go in.
Yep, I sure did see that. The Republicans did block the release of the list last night. Yep.
Intact over to Ukraine very soon. So that is a significant asset that would be shifted over there.
So Hal, I have to ask, because the president says the Europeans are paying for all of this, that they're putting the...
Yeah, well, that's cap. That's actual cap. And you guys know that. We know that. That's a good way of being able to look like you're doing, like if it's going to happen, then at least we're not paying for it. No, we're going to end up paying for it.
Bill completely. How so?
Let's see how this guy copes.
Well, it's kind of an interesting arrangement. European NATO allies, and it looks like it's a country-to-country thing more than NATO. I'm not sure if NATO's going to set up a central fund to do this, but Germany is definitely in. Finland, Norway, Denmark. I've heard of a few other countries that are in, that are paying, that will be paying for buying those weapons from the U.S. Now, the question comes to my mind is, what will we charge? It might be we charge a very discount rate for this purpose.
That's what I was trying to say to you guys. Remember when they're like saying, oh, we're going to charge these to NATO. We're going to charge these to Ukraine. Okay, yeah. What are you doing? Pennies on the dollar? Yeah. And who said that first? Absolutely me. You know what I mean? 100,000%. They can make it sound good by them buying it on pennies on the dollar. And that's what he just said right there. And it could be at a very extreme discounted rate.
What will we charge? It might be we charge a very discount rate for this purpose.
So if we charge a discount rate, okay, we're charging a discount rate. We're not selling it for the amount that it costs to make it. So who has to make up that difference? It's not, shit ain't free around here. I hope you guys know that, right? So who makes up that difference? The U.S. taxpayer. Just saying.
As well, that's very possible. There is a lot of latitude on what we can charge for weapons, and certainly if it's something we have in the inventory, what we can charge. But this is actually kind of going back to something we've heard from President Trump and those around him for quite some time, is that the European countries need to start pulling their weight in providing more support for NATO. What this does is it addresses a defense industrial base shortfall within Europe. I'm not saying the U.S. is healthy in this regard. We have a lot of work to do to rebuild our defense industrial base, but Europe is much further behind us. So they're not in a position where they can suddenly start producing weapons at the rate to support Ukraine with what Ukraine needs. So now it's, okay, they can't produce them in Europe, but they can pay for them in Europe and get them from the U.S., and it keeps that pipeline going.
Yeah, this shit is just all bullshit.
Oh, shit!
All bullshit.
Okay, so I just want to follow up on this. Obviously, a lot of this drawdowns from the entire duration of the war have been congressionally authorized and approved here. So we're essentially still paying for it, kind of, right? Or no? Do I have that right? I'm trying to make sense of it.
As far as I know, we're still paying.
Yeah, and as well as not just Ukrainian cucks, but as well as Israeli cucks. Honest, that's the way it is.
For some weapons, and I think, I'm not entirely sure, I was trying to kind of suss that out today to figure out if that was the case. it looks like some of the Patriot missiles that were going in may have been from the congressionally authorized stuff. That's been drawing down. There's not a lot of that fund left, but there still was some of that fund left. So some of those weapons, particularly the Patriot missiles, are from that. Now, the thing they just announced, this is new.
Okay.
This will be
let's hear what is new.
on top of whatever that is. And I will say the Europeans have been stepping up really fast. In fact, I saw an estimate some weeks back that said they'd actually filled the gap in
Stop the cap.
Stop capping, yo.
terms of contribution
This is like super apologist for NATO.
towards buying weapons for Ukraine that the U.S. used to fill. And so that was pretty big. But this actually addresses that other problem, which is how do you get the weapons? And again, it goes back to the ability of these NATO European countries to produce weapons that Ukraine needs. Particularly the fact is, a Patriot missile, there's only one place you get a Patriot missile. That's from the
United States.
U.S. All right, that's our missile. So they have to get that. If they want to put missiles and Patriot batteries, they've got to get the missiles from the U.S.
Alice.
Yep. Well, that's enough of listening to that bullshit. I think that we have enough details there from the last couple of days. All right, we're going to be moving on into former President Joe Biden defends himself and defends his use of an auto pen at the end of his term.
And welcome back here to Live Now from Fox. I'm Andrew Kraft. Let's go back there to the White House. Like I said before the break, I want to dive into this interview former President Joe Biden gave to the New York Times over the weekend. Biden saying he had orally granted all the pardons and commutations issued at the end of his term, calling President Trump and other Republicans, quote unquote, liars for claiming his aides had used an auto pen to do so without his authorization. Fox News correspondent Madeline Rivera has more details.
Former President Biden breaking his silence.
He's getting walked right now outside. How nice of his wife.
Over his use of an auto pen device to issue pardons at the end of his time in office. President Trump and Republicans have jumped on it as a major scandal, saying it raises serious questions about who was in charge at the Biden White House.
I guarantee he knew nothing about what he was signing. I guarantee it.
President Biden firing back at his critics over the weekend in an interview with the New York Times, saying he used an auto pen to sign the clemency warrants because there were so many of them, but that he, quote, made every decision. In response to Republicans questioning his mental sharpness, Biden said they're liars. They know it. The former president says pardons of his staff and members of his family were meant to protect them from politically motivated prosecutions by the Trump administration. Some of his former staffers have been coming to his defense.
Of course, it makes no sense that he would physically...
Real quick, before we continue down the line, make sure you guys hit that like button. You guys don't have to like what's happening around the world, but you guys can like it for me and my takes. It's absolutely free to do so. I don't ask you guys to donate or anything, but I do ask you guys to hit that like button. Real quick, we got Lil Paul saying left wing or right wing, all the same bird. Yeah, absolutely. Good to see you, kind sir. Hopefully you're enjoying the morning so far, as well as Brother Slim saying big love family. Hope all is hella good. Nobody needs to help like this. Old USA. Keep our shit. Who will help us? Nobody. Right. Who would they watch us burn? Would they watch us burn? Jesus Christ, I'm fucking up. Fuck them. And good morning, my peeps. Sorry, dude. I totally butchered your fucking comment there, but hey, I'm illiterate as fuck, so. Hit the like button.
4,000 documents. What's important here is that he says, I made the decisions. What he's saying is the auto pen just executed those actions.
Last week, the former president's doctor testified on Capitol Hill in a deposition to the House Oversight Committee, but his answers didn't shed much light.
You already saw fucking Lucy at the top of the hour. I showed her off. She was dancing even. Naomi was like putting her in the camera and dancing. So there's no excuse now. I got proof. I got video proof.
After he pleaded the fifth to nearly every question.
I think that this adds more fuel to the fire.
That's right,
that there was
Frank.
a cover-up.
This week, former First Lady Jill Biden senior advisor Anthony Bernal is expected to appear before the House Oversight Committee for a closed deposition. In Washington, Madeline Rivera, Fox News.
Madeline, thanks so much. All right.
Real quick, Blair says, this isn't correct. Tim Pool read the whole article, and there were communications between the aides and Biden. Wasn't included in the messages. Read the New York Times article. Holy shit, dude. Yeah.
Let's talk about this story with our friends there at 24 Site, Tom Lobianco,
What's up,
and
Chase?
at the Washington Examiner, Kaylin Deese.
Good to see you.
Guys, thanks for being with us here. Hope you had a good weekend. I guess, Tom, I'll start with you. For our viewers, what's an auto pen? What is that? Is that just a DC thing or something else?
Oh, that's one of the great wonders of the Trump era of American politics is how deep in the weeds we get with American history. I was actually just reading up on this and a very nice piece from NPR. Apparently, it's used for...
Of course you were going to read up on it because you knew you were going to get asked about it. Of course.
If you think about signing thousands of documents, it is a automatic machine which
signs your name.
Writes in ink. And it has been used by presidents before.
Okay, yeah. I don't understand why we all know what the fucking autopen is.
That. And I think, and maybe our viewers have forgotten, I no doubt probably have, that at the end of his term, his single term there, Biden had issued over 4,000 commutations and pardons over the course of that 4 years, the most of any president. And our viewers can fact check me there, but I looked that up here. But this was an interview in the New York Times. Kalen Biden said that he had his staff use an auto pen for the warrants because he had granted clemency to so many people. The auto pen was used in all on 25 pardon and commutation warrants from last December to this January. Some of the individual warrants included large batches of names because they all fell into the same broad policy category, like reducing the sentences of nonviolent drug offenders who met the standards Biden had established here. So how is this all going down? What is the reaction? This is in lieu of Biden taking a pen and signing these things with his own hand, right?
Right. Correct. But
right. And I think if you ask most people, especially Republicans on the Hill, they would probably ask you the question, why would Biden even go out and tell the New York Times, give him a 10-minute interview?
Look at this dude. Jesus.
Interview to talk to him about all of this. But I would say that it really shows a lot of confidence over there from the Biden camp that they think that they had a thorough created formula to use the auto pen to the point where they're trying to posture as not necessarily as nervous as some Republicans might think they would be, especially in the weeks that we've been going through this investigation. Now, I do think that where they are opening themselves up for a little bit of trouble is the fact that we've basically been given a window into this very convoluted system in which aides would be basically passing information from one aide to another to the point where there's basically, this multifaceted, group of people that are, finally getting this to the final stages for, signing via the auto pen. So I think that they're leaving themselves open, at least in part from the political side, where as Republicans like James Comer are going through these interviews in the coming days, especially with Anthony Bernal, they're going to be able to ask...
didn't they use like carbon, almost kind of like a stamp almost, SNS, something like that? Anyways, back to this.
Questions, especially related to the way that, say, Chief of Staff Zients was basically signing off on the use of the auto pen and how there were basically lower aides that were creating blurbs sort of as the justification for using the auto pen. It creates a system in which now the Republican investigators are going to be asking them direct questions about this.
So, I mean, to me, it seemed like because Biden did this interview in the New York Times, it was over the phone.
I think that all of America, what we care about at this point is just the truth. I don't care whose narrative it is. I don't care if it's from the left. I don't care if it's from the right. I don't care. You know what I mean? What I think the worst thing that the government can do is withhold information, such as what Trump is doing on Epstein. That's insane. I thought we were all about truth here. You know what I mean? That was why I voted for Homeboy. So it's unfortunate to watch this kind of shit happen and certain things get buried. And I don't care from either side, dude. Just be transparent with the American people. That's it.
That he wanted to explain himself, or at least get out ahead of it. I think that's kind of the point you were intimating. The New York Times says this.
I know it doesn't. It's an oxymoron, but, one can dream,
Biden said, quote, "I made every decision." But according to the New York Times, these clemency warrants that were reviewed by the Times show that the Biden White House had a process to establish. Biden had orally made decisions in meetings before the staff secretary, her name, Stephanie Feldman, who managed use of the auto pen, would have clemency records put through the signing device here. So, Tom, do you think I have that right, politically speaking, that Biden wanted to explain, wanted to clarify, wanted to get out ahead of this?
Yeah, stop the cap.
Stop the cap.
This story?
Feels that way. I mean, as we've noted before, certainly uncharacteristic of how he was during
all love, Brother Slim. Appreciate
the campaign,
you being here.
his re-election bid. When he was in the White House, he certainly didn't call reporters on cell phones. So, yeah. I mean,
this guy is a super apologist for the left.
I don't know it directly myself, but I suspect there's a realization that they probably need to talk about this. I mean, as Time stories go, props to the New York Times for getting that. it's incredibly detailed. You know, and Kalen noted this a second ago. I mean, my God, this is arcane. This is the type of thing I'd look to put into a book, to pad out a few pages. All right. But it's important. All right. These are, yes, the nonviolent offenders. But if you
I think at this point she's under the bed.
You look at the universe of pardons and what Republicans have gone after Biden and continue to go after Biden for, it's the bigger names. It's Hunter Biden. It's Anthony Fauci. So it's obviously incredibly important, perhaps meriting this, where we are right now, down in the weeds with, notes and whatever oral blurbs from the secretary to the council to the president, whatever.
A live picture there at the White House. And so I have to ask this, because I was struck by
you know what? We'll go ahead and move on. I think these guys are just going to sit here and dance around this. I don't think they really have any actual update. I think that they're just talking about how Joe Biden defended himself, defended his use of the auto pen, and now they have two different analysts up there, one from the right, one from the left, talking about it, and they really don't have any actual factuals. So no need to continue to present that then, if it's just opinion-based shit. Anyways, we're going to move on into, this is the latest news that is breaking, I guess. Unreleased Beyonce music stolen, arrest warrant out for suspect, and they have a 911 call on it.
And welcome back to Live Now from Fox. Atlanta police are investigating after unreleased Beyonce music was stolen from a car. An Atlanta Police Department report said that music, as well as set lists and footage plans for Beyonce's show, were stolen from her choreographer's rental car. The break-in happened on Tuesday, July 8th. I do want to head over to Brooke Zahner with our Fox Atlanta team to tell us more. Good morning to you, Brooke.
Yeah, good morning. And that, as you mentioned, happened last week on Tuesday. This was before Beyonce came here for her Cowboy Carter tour and had 4 different concerts that were here in Atlanta. And according to police, there were
the ATL
several items that were stolen, including set lists and some unreleased music from the Grammy Award-winning singer.
Someone broke into my car.
Just days before Grammy Award-winning singer Beyonce begins a 4-show run in Atlanta, thieves get away with several items belonging to the superstar.
Why is she so loud? Why is she screaming? Jesus Christ.
Atlanta police say the break-in happened at a parking deck for Krog Street Market last Tuesday. According to an incident report, Beyonce's choreographer and one of her dancers parked in the deck for about an hour and came back to find the trunk window of their rented Jeep damaged and 2 suitcases gone.
I was parked at in a garage while I went to a restaurant, but they stole like my computers and everything. But it has.
What's up, Tiffany? Happy Topless Taco Tuesday to you. Hopefully you're enjoying the morning, as well as Chris Lestrange over there in South Africa. Good to see you, my man. Hopefully you're enjoying your afternoon so far as well.
The tracker on it.
The report says several hard drives were stolen that included watermarked and unreleased music for Beyonce and footage plans for her shows.
It's following them because it's on Find My iPhone. They have my computers, and it's really, really important information.
Shit.
In there.
That's Beyonce on the phone with 911.
Like, I work with someone who's like of a high status, and I really need the my computer and everything.
Police say cameras from the parking deck did capture the incident. Authorities also used the Find My app to search for a computer and a pair of missing headphones. Atlanta police are using the incident as a reminder to always remove valuables from your car.
Yeah, no kidding.
Now, according to Atlanta police, they apparently do have a warrant out for a suspect in this case, although we don't have the name of the person.
So they have a warrant for a guy they don't have a name for?
Person who they are looking for. We also don't know at this time if the...
Can you just put a warrant out there on the act of that? Can you do that? I don't even know the answer to that. Can you put a warrant, even though you don't know who it is, you put it on the person because you knew it happened, it was caught on video, let's say, one guy, that's the warrant for that guy, but we don't know his name yet. Can they do that? I don't even know.
Music has since been recovered, or any of those items have been recovered. So certainly a lot of questions here, and we will keep tracking all of this. But for now, that is the latest here from Atlanta. I'm Brooke Zahner reporting for Live Now from Fox.
All right, so let me go ahead and make sure that we're completely updated here, and we are. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, make sure you guys stick around for the raid. We're going to be raiding our buddy Glenn Lawrence, so make sure you guys stick around for that. As well as make sure you guys hit the like button on the way out. Very much appreciate you guys as well, and thank you for all your contributions, whether it's donations, chatting in the chat, hitting that like button. It's all very much appreciated. And also appreciate every one of you guys in the Breakfast Club that said safe travels to Naomi. She's leaving today, so it's a sad day in that regard. But until tomorrow morning, we'll see you guys tomorrow morning for more of the World's Madness. Until then, God bless everyone. Much love, honor, respect.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges, a host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart steel and a spirit unbroken, he rides on two wheels ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow, he takes his stand, refusing to submit.